Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dimitri Cinema, and I'm your magnificent host, Dimitri. Today, I want to talk about. I told you guys that I was going to line it up of my top 5 to 10 favorite movies of all time, and I'm still in the act of doing that. I'm still doing it. So, I've been named Fast and the Furious, Batman. I think those were the only two that I named so far. Goodfellas, one of the most iconic mafia movies of all of our generation. Um, It was what I liked about Goodfellas is the fact that it brought flavor to the mafia movie world. Godfather is the original OG gangster, but Goodfellas is a lot more flavorful. You know what I mean? Like it's the same way with Sopranos, more flavorful. Like it has more to it. Like Godfather's the starter, but it's like basketball. Dr. J was the originator, but Michael Jordan is you know, he had more flavor to it. You know what I mean? Um, something just popped up on my got so when we talk about Goodfellas, okay, I want to talk about the cast. Robert De Niro as Jimmy Conway, Ray Liotta as Henry, Joe Pesci as Tommy. What am I funny? I'm funny. Um, Lorraine Bracco as Lauren, which is, you know, uh, Henry's wife. Paul Sorrero as Paulie, who's the mafia boss, who's the boss of the whole. And then you had Tony Drill as Sonny, um, Mike Stars as Frenchie, Billy Frank Vincent, who's one of my favorite mafia actors, also other than Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Al Pacino. He played Billy Bats, the guy who they decapitated. Um, and he's also in The Sopranos, where he plays Philly Leotardo. You know, Chuck Lou as Morris Keeler. Martin, a great Martin Scorsese's film. So when we talk about Goodfellas, you talk about how you know the opening scene where Henry's talking about when I was young, I wanted to be a gangster. And he goes through his whole life story about how he becomes Henry and how he joins the organization and, join these guys to do their mafia things. So, he starts off a young kid, you know, he's seen them, used to look out the window and see these guys just running, sees like little paper boys running for them, little people running for them that was under them, and everybody was making money doing that. You had some kind of side part of the mafia if you wanted to make money other than these pencil dollar jobs. So, Henry sees that. Now Henry's influenced by that. Henry wants to be part of this. So he gets in. They like him. He's a good kid. He started working for Paulie's brother, and he started being like an errand guy, errand kid, and he's making money. He's selling cigarettes, cartons of cigarettes. He's doing all kind of crazy stuff, and he's making so much money to the point he's buying his own suits. That was big time because suits was the style back then. That's just what it is. It was just suits and that's it. Fancy suits, nice suits, that's it. Nowadays, you got the style is Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, Nautica, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Versace. You got all this new stuff. People, and you got my people, black people are urban wear a lot of urban wear and things like that nature. But suits was black, white. It doesn't matter what culture it was. Suits was that. It was it. It was him. So you know, he's wearing buying suits and he comes home, "Hey, mom, look at me." She's like, "You look like a gangster. Where'd you get that?" Next thing you know, that leads to them finding out that he's skipping school. And they find out because the mailman's bringing, the report cards home and letters from the school saying your son hasn't made class in weeks. And, of course, his dad, who's a great father, who's a dad's dad, raises kids good. He gives them the belt, whoops them to the point Henry has to go tell Paulie's brother, "Hey, my dad whooped me." We got to do something about that because I ain't gonna be able to work for you. You don't want me doing what I'm doing right now. He's watching me. So what? How do they handle it? The mafia way. They jack up the mailman and tell him, "Hey, you see this kid? Don't you ever, don't you ever deliver any mail. You hear me? Or we're gonna find you. And next time we see you, we're gonna do some other things to you. Capiche?" So this guy, mailman, scared now, and the mailman, instead of stopping bringing Henry's mail from school, he cuts the whole mail off from from their house. Period. It was funny, but so he it was pretty funny, man. I can't help it, man. It's just like this guy. They scared the soul mustaches off this dude, like to the point he's like, "I ain't delivering mail over there. Period. Ain't gonna get me caught up with the mafia." So they, he stops delivering mail to the point they got to go to the Henry's mom got to go to the post office and see what's going on while they stop delivering mail. So that being said, now Henry's a year, 2 years into it as a kid, and they showed him the ropes, you know, and then he's introduced to Jimmy Conway, Robert De Niro, and Jimmy is like he runs hits for Paulie, and he does his own thing on the outside too. So he's pretty much the hitman, the killer, the guy that does the dirty work. And he makes a lot of money doing that for mob bosses. So he's locked in with Paulie on doing certain things. Now he's full time with Paulie. He's robbing trucks and doing all kind of stuff because he loves to rob. So he meets Henry. Hey, how you doing, kid? He was like, give him $100. Hey, go get me something to drink, will you? And Paulie's like, yeah, Jimmy, I want you to meet this kid of mine. This is Henry. Henry meets Jimmy. So they come. Then Jimmy end up liking Henry. Henry likes Jimmy. So now Henry's under the command of Jimmy to do orders and stuff. So now Jimmy's handling Henry. Then Jimmy brings along another guy. Who would that be? Tommy, Joe Pesci. He introduced Tommy to Henry. And hey, he was like, "Tommy, I want you to meet Henry. Henry, this is Tommy. Hey, how you doing?" You know, they become good friends, Henry and Tommy. That's where that bond comes. They become like brothers because now they're doing everything together, robbing, setting trucks on fire, doing all kind of stuff. And they have the childhood, teenage life together, and they come up as adults. Now they're great. They're all a three family: Jimmy, Tommy, Henry. Now Jimmy's crazy about these two. So Tommy and Henry are like, the guys. You know, they're not made yet, but they're the guys under Paulie now, who they're working for Jimmy under Paulie. And now, Jimmy's in the mob life. Now he's doing bigger things. He's not running cigarettes and shoe shining, and Tommy's not doing the same thing. So now they're making a lot of money. Tommy's got broads he's taking out, and he wants Jimmy to come, you know, hang out with him. And he he meets not Jimmy. He wants Henry to hang out with him to introduce Henry to one of his broad's friends. So they go out on a date, and Henry didn't want to do it at first. Henry told me he thought about it. They go out on a date, and they end up, not liking each other. Well, they liked each other, but they were just shy, and to the point the date was just so boring. Tommy's like, Henry, you had to touch your food. You're not gonna eat. What's going on? Nah. So Henry's like, nah, I'll pay for the bill. I'm leaving. He pay for the bill, get up and leave the girl there. With Henry, with Tommy and his girlfriend. He's like, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. He's telling him. She's like, so she gets so mad that she goes to where Henry's hanging out at, where the maid guy, and well, the maid guys and the mob guys hang out at on the corner, outside of the restaurant. And she tries to embarrass him. I was like, "You think you're so tough, huh? You're gonna leave me there? You think you're just all the shit, and you could just leave me there?" And Henry's like, "What are you talking about? I tried to start a conversation with you. You didn't. You were quiet. You didn't want to talk, you know." And she's like, "Well," he goes, "Listen, let me make it up to you." And she's like, "Yeah, well, it's gonna take a lot." And now you see where they like each other. Like, okay, I mean, you were looking good that night. She was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." She was like, "Well, you're gonna have to work for it." And I'm like, "Oh, there it goes." Next thing you know, they're going out to eat. He's taking her out again, and she realizes, she's like, what do you do? Because this man walks in with her, and he's tipping literally from the door guy to the butler to the busboy to the manager to the cooks to the line cooks to the GM to the singers. And she's like, wait, what do you do? She knew what way he hung out, but she didn't know what he did. So then he, explains to her what he's into and all that. They get married, you know, and on the urge of getting married, before they got married, she had a little altercation with this guy who was kind of stalking her, who's their neighbor. She had a problem with that, and she told Henry, like, hey, you know, this guy just hit me, my neighbor. Oh. So she's kind of like, Henry gets pissed off, and he goes up to her and talk to the neighbor with his gun, and he pistol whips him because he's serious about this woman. It's like, don't you ever put your hands on her. You hear me? You hear me? You're dead. You're dead. That goes on. Then their bond gets stronger. They get married. She can't help herself. So now they get married, and the whole mob wedding goes on and all that stuff. Yeah. Then comes the upcoming heist, which is supposed to be the biggest heist planned of all time. One of Henry's outside friends is works for this building, and they plan to rob it, which is like I think it's like a armor truck with, I can't remember how many. I think it was 7 million or something like that. And they end up setting it up to rob. They have a meeting. So Jimmy meets with Henry's friend. He's like, they sitting there at the restaurant, the bar, and he's like, look, you know, it's all set up. Everything's great. You know, I mean, what more can you ask for? This is all easy. And they're like, well, who's going to be like the security guard there? Because you got to go through the security guard. He goes, I'm the security guard. It's me. And with that being said, you can see Robert De Niro's face, Jimmy's face. He's just laughing like, he's like, everything's good. They set that ice up. So then, you know, things come along. There's a scene where they're all sitting at the table, and Tommy's talking to Spider. Um, they're all eating, and it's like a part where they're all hanging out. Henry and Tommy always hang out all the time, and all the other maid guys and mafia guys. So they sitting at the table, and Tommy is just he's always been funny. He's a comedian. He's really funny. So he's telling jokes and stories. They all laughing, and everybody's like, ah, ha, ha, ha. They laughing, you know. So then Spider comes out. He goes, hey, you know, hey, you what do you want to want? He's like, yeah, go get me a drink. He's like, oh no. He's like, well, you said you wanted this. He's like, yeah, I said this. You know, it was a little altercation. And Tommy said, what are you fucking deaf? What are you deaf? You know, go get me a drink. You know, he's giving the kid, you know, going off on the kid. So then he gets mad and he's like shooting a gun, like dance, dance. I told you to go get your dance, dance, and he ends up shooting the kid in the leg, which is also he played Michael, who plays Christopher from Sopranos 2. This is the same guy. This was a masterpiece, man. It led to other great things. So he shoots shoots a kid in the head, in the foot. Now they got to take him to the hospital. And Jimmy's like, what's wrong with you? Now you got to take him to the hospital. Take him to the hospital. He'll be all right. He's fine. Yeah. And then he looks at the waiter. He goes, everybody. He goes, what are you looking at? So you know Jimmy and I mean Henry and his wife are forgetting. You know things start getting more closer with them. Henry's cheating a little bit. Then they go back to another scene with them, being at the table, and this time Tommy's like, "Hey," he's like, give him the guys are tipping him and Spider, and they're like, "Yeah, Spider, I'm sorry about that, man. Hey, go get this." He's like, "Man," Tommy's like, "He be all right. He's a bigger kid. He's all right." He goes, "Hey, Spider, you prick. You want everybody feeling sorry for you, this and that, just going at him." So it's to the point where he's Spider get, gets courage and gets upset and looks at him and goes, "Hey, hey, Tommy, why don't you go fuck your mother?" Excuse me. And Jimmy is like, "Hey, you gonna let him get away with that? Hey, here you go, Spider. Here's another 100 for you. This guy, he's got balls. He just told him to go with his mother right after the guy shot him. He's like, man, you're a good one, Spider. You're a good one." Then he looks at because Jimmy was also an instigator. He looks at Tommy. He goes, "You you gonna sit here and let him? You gonna let him get away with that? You gonna let this kid just?" And then there, out of nowhere, because Tommy's a loose cannon, pulls his gun out and bah 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 kills him. Now Jimmy gets mad. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? What's the matter? You gonna clean that body? You gonna dig the body? You're a fucking idiot. You know that? You're an idiot. What's the matter with you? You're gonna clean that body. You're gonna clean it. You're gonna bury his body. I'm not doing anything. You're gonna bury it. Like, man, you instigated it. Literally told the dude you're gonna let them do that. That's what happened when mafia is eagles. Mob guys is eagles. Um. So Tommy goes to bury him. Then it gets to the point, Tommy's just so much of a loose cannon. He, he getting on um the owner of the restaurant's nerve or whatever, and he's like talking to them about it, and then the owner of the restaurant goes to Paulie and complain about it, and basically complaining about Tommy is doing like you know getting on their nerves for stuff, and he's sitting and making fun of him, and comes there and he just being disruptive. He's being an a-hole basically for the whole situation. So Paul is like, "What you want me to do?" You know what I mean? Like, it's a restaurant. You know what I mean? He's like, "I want you to go half on a restaurant, because if you go half on a restaurant, you can control it." So Paulie's like, hey, he's like, what do you want me to do? Gonna have on this, I never ran a restaurant before. So then all of a sudden, he's like, look, man, I think it's better if it's run by you. Tommy will listen to you. You're the boss, this and that. He said, man, I don't know what you want, man. What, like, you know what I mean? Like, come on now. Like, and he's looking at Henry. He's like, he wants me to run a restaurant? Like, I don't know nothing about a restaurant. All I know is just go there and eat. That's it. He said, he's like, no, I really need you to just do this for me, man. And, you know, so Tommy's like, all right, he's like, I'll think about it. He goes, "Oh, man, you act like me. You want me to whack the guy?" And the guy go, "That wouldn't be a bad idea." And then Paulie just looks at Henry and looks at him and stares at him. He's like, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. So they end up taking over the restaurant, and the dude end up owing Paulie more money to the point, with all the stuff going on, all the bills owed and everything, he can't keep up with it. So now he owes Paulie money, so much money to the point they go on a plan to just sit there and burn the restaurant to get the insurance money. That's the only way he could pay Paulie. So that's what they do. Henry and Paul and Tommy set it on fire. While they going in an argument about Tommy dating uh, a Jew broad who doesn't like Italians. So after all of that, things get more heated, and they end up going on the heist, get set up, and they end up doing the heist, and the heist was successful. So then they after they do the heist, they you know things go bad because people start buying stuff that they're not supposed to buy, and he's telling them not to spend the money basically, and they just spend the money, anyway. So he's getting mad. Um, Jimmy's getting mad at them and basically going off on them. They have a party set up where they're supposed to Christmas party, and they're coming in, and Jimmy's kind of like, looking at them with uh their gear on and their clothes and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, I thought I told you not to spend money. What's going on?" He said, "Man," they're like, "Yeah, well, I just wanted to get my wife, certain things or whatever." And he's like, "Man, I told you not to spend no money." One guy came in there with a car, a brand new car. He said, "Man, they watching us. We just did one of the biggest heists in the world, and they're watching to see who's spending money. And y'all out there spending money, and I told you not to spend no money." So, um, you okay? Um, but yeah, so then they were like, you know, we just wanted to do stuff for ourselves, and he's like, "Man, you gonna mess around and get us pinched?" And they obviously wasn't seeing the picture to the point he has to go off on them and tell them to get out of there and take everything back. So, and which the crazy thing is, they were on the urge to getting pinched. So after that, he had to start taking everybody out, start killing everybody. Everybody that came in there with stuff bought, and anybody that led back to them, he was just pretty much killing them. So that's how the mafia works. When if something's going on, I don't care who's in the family. If you don't do things the way it's supposed to be done, that's when people start getting murdered. So he took out the truck guy, the guy that Stack, who was supposed to get rid of the truck after the heist. He ended up killing him. He ended up killing one of his main guys that was with him that bought a fur coat, and he killed the guy that came in with the car. Pretty much killed everybody but Tommy and Henry because he knew they weren't going to spend the money, even though Henry started buying Christmas trees and stuff. So after that, everything was just going. He just didn't want, anything led to him or whatever. And then that just show you just how much they're dedicated to not like snitches and people not talking and people doing stupid stuff when they do stuff. It's just, certain things like that. But then after that, they end up getting locked up because Tommy and Henry and Jimmy went to see this guy for Tommy, and they were supposed to scare him and come back. Well, it was to the point where that guy was entire. I think his brother-in-law, somebody worked for the FBI. So then they end up getting in trouble. So they get locked up for. I think I think Henry had a year, and I think Paulie got. I think it was 2 years or something like that. So Henry got off on. Paulie got off on good behavior. He got off before Henry did. So then when Henry was in there, his girlfriend's bringing him different stuff for them in there, like sneaking stuff in, and he started setting up a whole coke coke thing going on where he's selling, cocaine. He gets a connect, and he's trying to just still make money because they're not making no money while they're in there, and he still has to feed his family. So they get into a whole thing with that, and she's getting tired because she knows he's cheating on her with other girls. So they, they start arguing inside the jail. You know what I mean? So she's pissed off. She's like, you if you want this stuff, you want to cheat, and you want this stuff brought in here for you, then you get her to bring it to you. I'm not doing it no more. So they get in a big argument, and of course she stays with him. Henry gets out, and Paulie, start talking to him and telling him about, look, man, I know what you was doing when I was locked up with you. Don't don't continue that. Like don't do that while we out of there, because I don't want nothing lead back to me. I don't want to get pinched. I don't want anything. So I respect what you did in there because you still had to make money, had to feed your family, but don't do that now. So he's like, nah, I never, I'm not gonna do that. Whatever. Of course, he start doing it still because he's addicted to it. He's making so much money. He's making more money when he get out. But if Paulie finds out, he'll kill him. So the whole point of this is Jimmy and Henry, they can't let it get back to Paulie because he'll kill both of them. He'll probably kill Jimmy before he kills Paulie, or before he kills Henry. So it's a big mess, drug mess, and then there goes the day where they're moving it, and Henry's paranoid from the helicopter following them, and everybody's telling him he's just paranoid. You need to chill out, whatever. But there's really a helicopter following him from when he wakes up and leaves, eat breakfast. There's a scene when he wakes up, eat breakfast, and then they keep following him, and then he ends up getting arrested. So they they He ends up having to turn everybody in court. He goes on a witness protection program where he's sent across country, and it's a mess, man. He ends up taking everybody down. So, life lesson and learn over this movie is, you can be loyal to stuff that you want to be loyal to, but sometimes it's going to catch up to you. So now he's different life, different person, and he can't live that same life, and that's life, life things we learn or whatever. So that being said, it's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think y'all should rent it, look at it on Amazon or whatever. It's been out for a decade, and that's my favorite movie of all times also. So if you ain't seen it, watch Goodfellas. I give that a 10 out of a 10. All right, we can.